So there's this ongoing stereotype of musicians being really into drugs or alcohol or, the whole sex, drug, rock and roll sort of thing. So I want to talk about the pros and cons of playing shows trashed. Now, there are pros to this. It can help you, but there's just as many downsides. So if you're going to do it responsibly, and here's why. I would like to note that I am mainly focusing on alcohol. I really do not suggest taking anything other than alcohol if you are playing live shows. And I really don't even suggest that. I personally don't drink anymore. I did for about 10 years, but from my experiences, this is what I have found with that. First of all, if you are having a drink or two before you go on stage, you are a lot less likely to have stage fright. You generally don't care as much what the crowd thinks, and you're able to get into it a little bit more because you're drunk or tipsy or intoxicated in some way, but you're able to feel the music a little bit more. At least I was able to. You're also a lot more likely to really get into it and really put on a good show and really go wild, which people love watching that. People absolutely love watching that. Another thing a lot of people don't think about is you're also kind of giving the audience a reminder to drink if you are drinking on stage or taking shots or anything like that, which as a musician playing at a venue or a bar, your main job as a performer is to help sell the bar alcohol, which sucks. It's not really a great cause, but I mean, at the end of the day, that's really kind of your job, and that's why they have live music, to bring people in the bar to sell their drinks. That's their job. So if you're helping them sell those drinks, at least the bartenders are gonna like you a little bit more. It's also just fun. It puts you in the experience a little bit more, and it's a lot easier to have a good time. All that being said, you look very unprofessional if you are drunk or too drunk if you're playing a show. That might work for some bands. Some bands don't really care about that, nor do their audience, and that's fine. That's perfectly fine. But if you're trying to be successful financially with your music and make money from gigs, that's something you might want to consider, at least before you take 5 or 6 shots before going on stage. You also might think that you're playing better than you are. There's been quite a few shows where I was just completely hammered and I thought I was doing a good job, but then I watched the videos and I'm like, oh man, why did I do that? Another thing is you have less control of your emotions. You can be a little bit more forgetful. You might get angry at someone. You might get upset about something that you normally wouldn't be upset about, which could cause problems, basic show drama. You also have impaired judgment in a whole. I've seen a lot of promoters just, get greedy and take off with the money or take the good portion of it home because they were wasted. And I've had quite a few times where I was a little too drunk and I decided to spend all my money buying people shots and woke up the next day and I'm like, I made nothing from my show because I was too drunk and bought people shots with the money from my merch. Bad idea. Another thing, you can get reckless with your gear. You might leave some stuff behind. I've had countless cables stolen from me just because I left them behind because I forgot about them. And another thing, if something happens, if things get bad, if a band member breaks their nose or something like that and you gotta drive to the hospital, well, now you're wasted and you really can't do that, which could cause a lot of problems, especially if you're touring. And, you know, on that note, even if you think you're sober and sober enough to drive, if you get pulled over, especially in the right states, and you're trashed and they impound your car, you could potentially lose all your gear. That's something a lot of people don't think about, but it is a very real thing, and that could be devastating to your band. So, is there anything I'm missing? What are some pros and cons that you have to getting drunk on stage or just being intoxicated as a whole? I'd like to have a little discussion in the comments. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.